The holiday season is upon us, and that means copious amounts of food, drinks, presents, and parties. I'm going to show you how I achieve these three very sparkly and smoky looks that is sure to get you noticed at any holiday event. I'll be using for the first time ever the Victoria Beckham lid lusters. These have been out for a while, but one of the shades is a new addition, so of course I had to buy them and try it out. Let's begin. The first look is a classic taupe smoky eye. Ideal if you want a bit of that drama without going full-blown black smoky eye, which can be intimidating for some. I'm starting with my favorite base product from Smashbox. This is the Always On Cream eyeshadows, and they come in several different colors. You can wear them alone or as a base. They layer well and your eyeshadows will not move. I'm going to be using both Mink and Onyx for this look. I'm starting off with Onyx and I'm gently dabbing this onto the outer corners. Now this formula is something special and I don't have anything like this in my collection. These are really thin and silky and a little bit goes a long way. Next, I'm going in with Mink and I'm applying this to the center and bringing this towards the inner corners, but not all the way. At this point, whatever is left on my fingers, I am tapping that all over my lids to overlap the shades. I don't want the shadows to be too structured, but at the same time, I don't want them to fade into each other either. Now, if you have not picked up the L'Oreal Color Queen oil shadows, you are missing out. These feel like a cream, but they're powders. I'm using the shade Force to buff out the edges to smooth things over. It's the perfect neutral brown, and spoiler, I use this in all three looks. I'm using a dark brown liner from Pixi Beauty on the top lash line. This shade is called Dark Cocoa. Smoothest liner I've ever used. Another great drugstore find that comes in multiple shades. I'm moving on to complexion and I'm using the well-loved Vitamin Enriched Base by Bobbi Brown as my moisturizer and primer. NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. This is the best foundation launch of this year. When I want creamy, dewy skin with a bit more coverage, I always reach for this. It is such a thin formula, buildable to full coverage, and dare I say, the best foundation NARS has ever launched, and they have done some solid ones in the past. By the way, I believe most of the brushes that I used are from BK Beauty. I have not used any other brushes since I got these. They are so soft and high quality. Now, BK Beauty was kind enough to send these to me as a gift, but I am not being paid to say this. I just really do love these brushes. I have a discount code and I will link that down below if you're interested, but you are not obligated to use it by any means. Now, moving on to concealer. This is the KVD Good Apple Concealer. This is a full coverage concealer, and that is why I'm using a teeny tiny bit and blending it out with a brush. A little bit really does go a long way. Now, jumping back to the eyes, I applied that Pixi liner to the bottom lash line and smudged it out. Then I'm dipping into the Onyx shade and I'm applying using pressing motions, gently dabbling. And I'm doing the same here with the Mink shade and I'm stamping that from the center to the inner corners. Tight lining with the same Pixi pencil, and I went ahead and applied falsies, totally optional. Now back to the base, I am setting that concealer with the Hourglass Veil Loose Powder. This powder puff from Amazon is a godsend and you must get it. I only use this now when applying powders. The finish is so smooth and impeccable. Next, I'm going in with the KVD ModCon Liquid Gel. I don't know what the team did, but KVD has been launching some banger products and this one is no different. Charlotte Tilbury Highlighting Wand in Spotlight. I think you already know how amazing this product is. The best of the best when it comes to cream highlighters, darling. Now, I can't talk about Spotlight without talking about Pinkgasm. This was sold out for over a year everywhere thanks to Madison Beer. I love that hint of color that it gives. I'm not a big blush fanatic, but this just gives me that really nice soft hint of color with a bit of sheen. MAC Extended Play Mascara for the bottom lashes, and I refuse to use anything else for my bottom lashes. The brush size is so thin and precise and it separates the lashes really, really well. Dabbing on a bit of that Charlotte Tilbury highlighter to the inner corners. For the lips, I'm using the ABH lip liner in Cool Brown. I just wanted a soft and blurry outline. And then I'm going in with the Milani Color Fetish lipstick in Tease. And I topped it off with a bit of Essence Extreme Shine Gloss in Gold Dust. Finally, setting with Milani Matte Setting Spray, and I am done. This is a fail-proof, hassle-free look and will complement many skin tones and outfits. Now, this would not be a holiday eyeshadow tutorial without a black smoky eye. This was the easiest black smoky eye I have ever done, and it looks so sparkly, glossy, and wet. You just wait and watch. I'm starting off with the Smashbox eye base, this time in the shade Grayish. If only Smashbox comes up with a white and black base, it would complete my collection. Smashbox, if you are watching, please make it happen. Now, I'm applying some of that L'Oreal eyeshadow in Force as a transition. It's a thin formula, so I am working this up in layers. Next, I'm going to apply Onyx all over the mobile lid. I deposit majority of the shade in the center and then tap the rest on the outer and inner corners. I am not taking this too high and I'm not too worried about being perfect. In fact, I want this to be a bit messy, giving it more of that rock and roll vibe. Black eyeliner on the top lash line, and I will also be tightlining with this. This one is from NYX, and I'm also smudging this out, making sure that there is no skin peeking through. Next, I'm just cleaning up the edges with the same brush that I used for the transition, but I did not pick up any extra eyeshadow. Moving on to the skin, I'm starting off with the Hollywood Flawless filter in the shade 4.5. I'm only applying this to the high points of the face, and I'm sure you can see just what that did to my skin. Fenty Beauty Blurring Eavesdrops. This shade is my summer shade, so it's slightly darker, but just trust the process here. So since my goal is for the eyes to grab all the attention, I wanted the skin to be matte and hyper perfected. I find that to be a lot more flattering on me, especially when I want to rock a very dark smoky eye such as this. A few dots of the Nudestix Nude Fix Concealer. Boy, try saying that 10 times faster. Another discovery that I made this year and has quickly become my favorite. This does tend to have a quick dry down period, so I like to work with one area at a time, blending with my fingers and then finishing with a brush or a sponge. Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will make my pores disappear like this powder. The Maybelline Fit Me loose powder comes very close, but this is still a bestseller for a reason. Let's finish the eyes. I'm using the same eyeliner to tightline and apply this to the lower lash line. Using a pencil brush, I am going to smudge this until it's completely smooth. I do bring this down a fair bit, almost to where I can feel my eye socket, because I want this to be really smoky and blown out. Next, I tap Onyx on the lower lash line as well. As I was editing this footage, I wish I had sprayed the brush with some Fix Plus or water in order to get a more wet looking lash line, but hey, that's something you guys can try and something that I will try next time. I'm hitting two birds with one stone here, so nothing on the skin is going to compete. This is a matte cream bronzer from Oma Beauty in the shade On Point. I'm barely applying any product. It's just enough to add a whisper of warmth, and the shade is perfect to double up as a blush and a bronzer. I wanted to do a bit of sculpting, so I'm going in with another bronzing product. This one is from Bare Minerals in the shade Faux Tan. It has a neutral, almost olive undertone, and I love using this on days when I want more prominent cheekbones and jawlines, and just to really define the look. Essence Pure Nude is a great everyday highlighter. It's not going to be over the top. It's more of a soft and gentle, creamy finish. Leaves your skin with a very natural sheen. This is a discontinued product from Marc Jacobs, and the shade is called Slow Burn, but any mid-tone mauve pink shade will work here. I'm going to be lining with the ABH liner in Cool Brown, and I'm softening the edges out, and finally tapping it with a little bit of MAC Oyster Girl lip gloss just to the center to give it a soft sheen. Applying a bit of MAC Extended Play on the bottom lashes. Again, falsies are absolutely optional. Added some hoops, hair, a leather jacket, and man, I feel like a new woman. If there is one look that I could rock, it would be this all day, every day. This was my favorite look to create out of the three. This last look is festive, smoky, and ultra glam for any occasion, and it will complement anyone. I'm starting off with my Smashbox Space again. I know you guys are sick and tired of it, but I love this product that much. Then I'm picking up some black eyeliner on a pencil brush. This one is from Nudestix, and I'm applying this from the base of my upper lash line and gradually moving upwards. Don't worry about this being too precise. My main goal here was to get that lash line really black and sooty, so I'm working to build this up in layers. Go slow, take your time with this. With whatever is left on the brush, I'm smudging it out on the lower lash line as well, and I'll come back to that later. And now, the showstopper. This is called Velvet, and it is a newer shade to join the Lid Luster family. It's a gorgeous, smoky olive gold. I love that it's a little bit dingy and dirty looking. I love shades like this, especially applied over a black base. I'm blending out the outer edges with that same pencil brush with no additional product, just to add some depth. And then I add a little bit more of that velvet shade to just to the center of the lid for a pop. I'm applying the Pixie eyeliner in Deep Plum for the bottom lash line, and this was the best decision. It really brought out the olive tones on my lids, and it brought a little bit more variation to the look rather than just going in with the same black eyeliner on the top and bottom. Here I'm cleaning up the edges with that L'Oreal eyeshadow again. Now we're moving on to complexion. I wanted to give you some options, so I used all drugstore affordable products for my base, starting with this NYX Targeted Pore Filler. They really should rename this to the Blur, because that's exactly what it does to your pores. It's amazing. Next, I'm going in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow on the high points. This is a great dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. I've done a dupe video comparing the two, so check that video out after watching this one. I'll link it down below. But really, just look at the glow. It's unreal. Mixing the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless with the L'Oreal 24 Fresh Wear is an epic combination. Great coverage with the longevity, but mostly it's because I'm in between shades right now. The finish is more of a satin matte, which is what I'm looking for when I'm going to an event or a party, and this also photographs really, really well. Revlon Colorstay Skin Awaken 24-Hour 5-in-1 Concealer with Caffeine plus Vitamin C. I can't tell if I'm jittery due to the caffeine in this or the 5 cups of coffee I've already had this morning, but I will say this gives the coverage that I need and it looks incredibly smooth under my eyes. Gotta set that caffeine vitamin goodness with some Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. Now, if you don't want to spend your coin on the Laura Mercier Translucent, then get this. This is the closest and the best drugstore loose powder money can buy. Now, I'm not sure if this product is still available. This is from Focallure. I'll mention the shade down below because I forgot, but I wanted to do some sculpting here, and I really wanted to accentuate those cheekbones, a little bit on the nose for some structure, and also that jawline. Maybelline Fit Me Pressed Powder, my other favorite powder from the drugstore. I use this to set the outer perimeters and adds a little bit more coverage and sort of perfects the base and brings it all together. I want it to be a little bit more bronze, so I opted for the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. This shade is called Golden Days, and yes, I know I'm applying a cream bronzer over powder, but hear me out. This is a very soft, moussey matte formula, and when applied with a light hand, it will add just a hint of warmth without disturbing the product underneath. Milani Baked Blush in Petal Primavera. Just laying that above the bronzer strategically for soft flush, and with whatever is left on the brush, I am dabbing that onto the apples of my cheeks. Mother of Dragons highlighter. Just kidding. It's called the Revlon Skin Lights Highlighter in Daybreak Glimmer, and it is an exact dupe for the ABH Omrezi highlighter. I have both, and there is no difference between the two. The only thing is that the ABH one is now discontinued, so this is a great option. I'm finishing off the eyes with a bit of that velvet, popping this onto the center of my lower lash line. For my lips, I'm using the Milani lip liner in Saucy Toffee, filling it in just a little and blending out the edges. The lipstick I'm using is Peony from the Milani Color Fetish Flora collection, and I'm leaving the lips matte. And that is the final look. Listen, I have not been this excited to film an eyeshadow tutorial in a while, and I'm so happy with the way these turned out. The lid lusters are so special. It's a special formula, and now that I have tried these, I want them all. So I really hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you for tuning in, and happy holidays to you all.